What's going on? Welcome to Tech with Sean, and this year we got more options coming out for mini LED displays on laptops, so I thought it would be a good idea to do a quick video comparing and contrasting regular IPS displays with the new mini LED tech. The two examples I'm using here are the Legion 5 Pro, and it has a 16-inch 1660p IPS screen that goes up to 500 or so nits and has pretty decent color. And the Scar 16, which is also 16-inch 1600p, it has a little bit better color gamut coverage and it goes way brighter and has better contrast because it's mini LED. But what does that actually mean in real life and practice? Let's take a look. Okay, first up here we've got an HDR YouTube video, and this is Costa Rica. I'll put a link to these videos in the description. I'm not trying to rip anybody off, I just need good examples to use. But you can see that on the left we have the mini LED panel, and then on the right is the traditional IPS panel. You'll immediately notice that it looks a little bit richer and deeper on the mini LED, and there is a little bit better color coverage on there. When you're displaying a certain color, having better contrast lets you create more shades and hues within that color, as well as not just having just better pure blacks. So on a monitor with better contrast, you're just going to have a deeper, richer look overall. Even though the IPS monitor doesn't technically have as good of highlights, I think it still looks pretty good and it looks nice and bright and everything when you're sitting right in front of it. Both screens have a similar anti-glare coating. You can see here in this example of the Parrot how much richer the color looks on the mini LED. They're both running at the same resolution, and we have the video running at the same resolution on both screens too. If you didn't have these sitting side by side, I think you would be really happy watching either one of them, honestly. You can see here in the rocks there's a little backlight bleed, not backlight bleed, but you can see the screen glow on the regular IPS monitor, whereas it's more of a perfect black on the mini LED. But that's our side-by-side sample of HDR content, so let's move on to the next one. Okay, now we're taking a look at an SDR video that's on both screens. So a lot of people have said that you really need to have HDR to really take advantage of the mini LED, but I would disagree and say that even in SDR content, there's an appreciable difference between the two, and the contrast on the mini LED panel is still way better even in SDR content. You notice that some scenes there isn't a whole lot of difference, and I think that's just because those scenes themselves don't have a lot of contrast. Color-wise, as far as like the really darks and really lights, there's not as much of a difference in the SDR content, but you still get the richer overall look because it does have better contrast. It just does a better job of displaying changes in hues, within a certain area. Both have pretty good color. I think I haven't calibrated these or anything. The mini LED may actually be a little bit oversaturated to my eye, but it looks phenomenal regardless, especially if you're just watching stuff and playing games and not necessarily mastering some 4K video. But yeah, overall I say both screens do exceptionally well at SDR content. It just is going to look a little bit richer, and you're going to be able to crank it up a little brighter on the mini LED panel. And finally, to highlight the difference in black levels that everyone's really interested in, we're taking a look at the famous LG OLED demo, and I've gone ahead and put both shots next to each other, and we're doing a split screen, again with the mini LED on the left and traditional IPS on the right. You can see here in the shot of the oil falling into the cup how much deeper the colors within the oil are on the mini LED panel, and that's because of the higher contrast ratio. I think my camera's auto exposure is kind of correcting the black level a little bit on the IPS because it really would look a little bit grayer than this in real life. Okay, the steaming teapot shot is doing a better job of showing off the grayness of the IPS side, and you can see just how much more vivid the stuff inside the teapot looks on the mini LED panel. It's not just the blacks, it's amazing how much difference it makes in the actual colors. And the shot with the 3 bottles, again, this is doing a good job of showing the difference in the black level. On an IPS panel, when you turn up the brightness, you really lose that deep black, and it's really one of the biggest downfalls with the IPS technology. But by moving to these, 1,000+ micro backlights, it really does a good job. There is technically some blooming around stuff, but it's really hard to notice unless you're just sitting there looking for it. Okay, so that's basically the differences between the two. So if you have a good IPS monitor or you have a laptop with an IPS screen, it's not like you have to throw it in the garbage and go get something new because it doesn't work anymore. There's still lots of really good IPS screens out there, and you know, they're gonna get the job done for you. The mini LED though, it's just gonna give you a more punchy picture, better highlights, deeper contrast. It just overall, for most situations, it's gonna be a better option. There are still some exceptions, you know, if you do graphic design, video editing, or fine detail work on your screen, the blooming that comes with mini LED may be a problem for you, so if that's the case, you may want to go for a regular panel. I'm not sure if we'll see any more OLED options on laptops coming up soon. It seemed to be like that was going to be a thing last year when Razer and MSI put out the 240 Hz OLED. That was a pretty awesome screen, but this year it seems like more places are moving to 16 by 10. And I haven't really seen any good OLED gaming laptops this year. These mini LED panels are almost twice as bright as the best OLED gaming laptop panels, so that's another sacrifice, especially on a laptop where you're gonna have it outside sometimes possibly. You know, you may want a brighter screen. But what do you think about this tech? Is it worth paying extra to get the mini LED? What are you gonna look for in your next laptop? Drop a comment down below and let me know. Subscribe if you haven't yet, and I'll catch you in the next video.